I'm gonna make you squeal.
Hello, it's Lisa Loves here doing a review for you for Geek Legion of Doom today. Today we have a new one being released by Wild Eye Releasing, who are very well known in the world of horror. This movie interested me a great deal. Let me tell you about the movie first of all. The title of the movie is Don't Look. And what interested me in this a great deal, first of all, besides the fact obviously that it's a horror movie, is this one has actually got a very strong female influence. It was actually co-written, it was directed and co-produced by a female, who pretty much says she wants to change the face of how women are portrayed in horror, and she wants to portray a more realistic version of women out there, and that we're not all waiting for Prince Charming to come save us. So that definitely pricked up my attention. So as I've already said, this one was directed by a lady called Luciana Faulhaber, who actually also has a starring role in this movie. Alongside her, we also have Jeff Berg, Jared Robbins, Curtis K. Case, Lindsay Eshelman and Javier E. Gomez. So to a basic idea of the plot here, we have 5 friends on Thanksgiving weekend that are going to stay in a remote farmhouse which has been inherited by one of the girls within the group. It's a story we have seen before, and we can guess when they get to that remote location, things are not going to be as they seem. They're maybe not going to have the fun that they predicted they were going to have, and there may be some grisly consequences. We do get a pretty good idea of the characters that are going to spend the time together. Although maybe there were a couple of stereotypes within that group, I do feel that on the whole that the characters were very well fleshed out, were very well rounded, and I actually did care about where things were going and what was happening, perhaps relationships between them, friendships, what was going on. Things were maybe a bit not as they seemed. This all was very interesting. It did add another dimension to things for me. I don't like to say too much about plot in these reviews to spoil anything for you, but when the group get to the farmhouse and have a bit of a look around, lots of things they see are quite creepy. It's very, very well in keeping with the location for a horror movie. Excellent, I have to say. And they do meet 2 other people on the location that are renting a property in the area by the name of Sherry Baby and Killay, a couple. And they add a bit of a sinister twist to things. They're definitely 2 characters, 2 very unique characters that do add quite a bit to this story. So as I say, I don't want to go into anything about the plot. Beyond that, I will say this is very much in keeping with the sort of like 80s style, Friday the 13th, The Burning, those sort of movies, centering around young people. Although I would say I felt the characters here were quite well fleshed out, quite well developed in comparison to some, shall we say, victims of these kinds of movies. So storyline, I felt the storyline was strong, it was interesting, it kept me interested from start to finish. This movie is actually only 71 minutes long, and that to me can be a very good thing if you've got everything accomplished within that time scale that you wanted to. And I didn't feel shortchanged here. I felt they accomplished what they set out to. I felt there was a satisfactory ending. I didn't feel we were left hanging about any aspects of the story or the characters. So I feel that rather than be tempted to do what a lot of filmmakers do, which is extend their story just to reach that sweet spot of an hour and a half, I think sometimes that can be a mistake, and we end up with 15-20 minutes of stuff we didn't really need, stuff that takes away your appreciation of the movie, makes you feel that it's dragging. They didn't do this and didn't feel the temptation to do this with this movie, which I really feel has paid off for them. The acting, I would say for the most part, was very good. There were a couple of small instances that I did feel wasn't up to the quality of the rest of the movie. Obviously this is a lower budget movie. It was put together following a crowdfunding campaign where I think 500 people got on board and donated, and they were able to start production of the movie. I think you really do struggle to see how this is low budget. The acting, I feel for the most part, was very strong. I felt all the characters were very believable. I got behind the individual personalities that we had there. I liked the fact that we had women that weren't your typical sort of like victim slash final girl. We had women thinking, we had women using their brain, That's not to say they don't have that femininity and sex appeal, because there is plenty of that on show here also. The strongest point for me within this, I have to say, go to the effects. I did like the story, I did like the acting, but the effects on the budget that they've actually worked with are outstanding. I've always been of the opinion with horror, less is more, so if you're working on a smaller budget, work with what you've got and make it as effective as you can. I'm not a fan, as most people know by now, of CGI, and using CGI that makes things look very fake and just completely take you out of the story. This movie uses practical effects, and there is quite a bit of blood and gore on show on here, and as far as I'm concerned, I thought it was very well done, very believable, looked very real, and that for me is always a plus point when you're working on one of these kind of horror movies, which I'm sure I'm not giving it away by saying one of these slasher type horror movies. This is what you want to see. You want to see something that's believable. You don't want to be pulled out of the story by really crap CGI effects and unbelievable gore and pink blood. And that, I am very glad to say, in this movie is definitely not the case. And it's an A1 when it comes to the effects and the blood and the gore on this movie. So to a release date, Don't Look is actually released on VOD and DVD from the 14th of May, so it's one that I would recommend that you get out there and keep an eye out for. It's from Wild Eye Releasing. I know a lot of my buddies within the horror community watch a lot of Wild Eye movies and even review Wild Eye movies. This is one I'm sure that if you receive to review, you're in for a treat. So this is one, if I had to score out of 10, I'll come in at an 8 out of 10 for this one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let us know below your thoughts. Does it look like something you would enjoy? If you're a woman out there in the horror community, do you want to see more movies where women are represented? More honestly, they get more of their teeth into the role. Is that something you want to see? Let us know below in the comments, and I look forward to speaking to you next time.